Folks, there's not a deeper team in the NBA right now. And they got arguably one of the top 3 coaches. I'm going to say this right now. Houston is a legit, I'm saying this, a legit threat to win the NBA title. I'm not saying it like because they're the second favorite odds. I'm saying like in a 7-game series, I think Ime Udoka can outcoach Mark Daigneault. And they got just as much depth.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Five-year contract. It's just, I bring it up only because who cares, Scott? It's just mine. Jaren Jackson Jr., good player. Don't get me wrong. $50 million a year. You know, we all bitch and complain about the Juan Soto deals and the Ohtani deals, and you get guys like Jaren Jackson making $50 million a year.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Gwynn had 107 career at-bats against Greg Maddux. Never struck out once.
Oh,
that's nuts.
In 107 times. 107. Cam, if you took the modern player and said, are you going to face Maddux 107 times in a row? Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and these guys, they'd strike out like 62 times type thing.
Exactly.
It'd be like 80 times. It'd be like whiffing.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sport.
Welcome to hour number 2, live right here on this Tuesday on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. In this second hour, as we promised yesterday and through this week, NFL playoff profiles are 7 teams in each conference. That's 14 in total that made the postseason last year in the National Football League. We'll look at what their outlook is entering 2025, if they can be a playoff team for at least a second year in a row, and maybe if they're back in the postseason, does it elevate their ceiling? Were they a wild card team who can now contend for a divisional crown and maybe a conference title? And heck, maybe the most given prize in the National Football League, that Lombardi Trophy. That is our main discussion here in hour number 2. We'll check in on the play as quarterfinal Tuesday is beginning as we speak at Wimbledon. So much to get to, DRS, in this second hour.
Absolutely the key. Like, hey, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Another step closer to football season. Teams getting into training camp a little bit earlier at the end of the month. We do have an NFL preseason game, which we certainly want to keep talking about and having some fun with that. But it is also the dog days of summer. Once you get past that July 4th holiday here, it's up to us here at the SportsGrid Network to keep you informed and entertained as we lie in wait for the NFL season to start, because we do have the All-Star break next week, which is usually unofficially the worst week of the sports calendar because you're just waiting for something to happen. Now, granted, you still might have some summer league games you can enjoy, and the WNBA might still be hanging out there, but without that day-to-day 10 or 12 games in Major League Baseball, it is tough. But once you make it past people next week, I promise it just gets better and better and better for the next, 300-plus days.
DRS, football really comes our way this week. Saturday in the NFL, the rookies for the LA Chargers, a team we are about to discuss because they will take part of that Hall of Fame game against the Detroit Lions. Those rookies for the Bolts report to training camp on Saturday. The veterans a few days later, a week from tomorrow. The rookies for the Lions a week from tomorrow as well, Wednesday, July 16th. And then by the end of next weekend, the Lions veterans will be there. And by the end of the following weekend, basically everybody around the National Football League. Also, if you're looking for a football fix starting on this Tuesday, no free ads necessarily, But Netflix is throwing out its second season of quarterback that will follow Joe Burrow,
Brutal.
Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. What do you mean, man? That's good stuff. Behind the scenes.
Brutal, man. That's
What do
brutal.
you-
Behind
why?
the scenes. Like when are they filming from? Like what's it from? Like
From
what's
last
the
season.
time frame here? Yeah, last season.
That's
I
gonna be
watched
great
last season. How
stuff.
about that? Yeah, I watched last season. Give me something today. Give me something they did yesterday that I can watch today.
Listen, I'm already telling you the headlines from what Kirk Cousins went through last year are already starting to make their way. I believe that he said he felt misled by the Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr. 8th overall in the 2024 draft.
Yeah, like we knew that. Like, oh, they drafted
good drama.
Penix. That's a shock. There you go. We just blew that away. Like that wasn't a surprise coming. You know, it would be a surprise like Kirk Cousins just being devious, or Kirk Cousins out there saying, what does he buy at Kohl's and how much Kohl's cash has he amassed in his career? Like those are the things I would like to follow him around Kohl's to see what he's buying and how much when he gets to the register he's saving. That's what I want to see out of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm excited to watch it. I can say that
No, you're not.
for
You're really
myself then. The LA Chargers send their rookies to training camp on Saturday. They will take on the Lions in that Hall of Fame game at the end of this month of July, a football month. And the LA Chargers in year number 1 under Jim Harbaugh were incredibly successful. 11 wins, skying over their preseason win total of 8.5. There is, of course, a thought, DRS, as Harbaugh is a franchise and program builder. They are going to take yet another step this upcoming season. And what is that next step? Is it knocking the Chiefs off their perch in the AFC West? Plus 320 price on the Bolts, second best number to win that divisional crown. Is it actually contending for an AFC championship? Heck, for Justin Herbert, could it be winning a playoff game? 2 playoff appearances for Herbert now in his 5-year NFL career. And DRS, neither of them have been very good. Of course, a couple of years ago against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they blew a 27-0 lead against the Jags. In the opening half, they led by nearly 4 touchdowns and ended up losing that game in Duval County. Last year, despite a tremendously successful season where he was incredibly efficient, maintaining possession of the football in Justin Herbert, only 3 INTs throughout the regular season. He had 4 in total, more in a single playoff game against the Houston Texans in that wild card round than the entirety of the regular season. He was awful in that wild card game in H-Town against the Texans. And let us not forget, the Texans were the divisional winner. The Chargers were the top wild card seed in the AFC, that 5 seed overall. The Chargers were the favorite in Houston to get past the Texans, win a playoff game for Justin Herbert, and advance to the divisional round. Instead, it was anything but. So what is that next step, DRS, realistically for LA this year in year number 2 under Jim Harbaugh?
Look, I want to love this team. I really do. You have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs. Did it turn out in their favor? As you see, a 32-12 loss, embarrassing effort, which now is like, hey, Herbert, the best quarterback in the NFL without a playoff win, right? We start to talk that way. The positives about this team, big, nasty, physical offensive line, 2 capable running backs, a Pro Bowl caliber young quarterback in his prime. What are the negatives here? Well, before we get to the negatives, like McConkey, fantastic. He's going to excel. But you know what I needed out of this Chargers team? I needed a really big-time wide receiver, because you might say, hey, Mike Williams had some success. That guy's healthy every other game. And on the opposite side, Quentin Johnston, the guy's stone hands, brick hands, catch the ball with your face every single game. And I don't like that. Like, I need consistency here. Let's just say the other LA team, the Rams, right, Ben? Who did they go out and get? Devontae Adams. And they got Puka Nacua. It helps the entire offense. If you just would have had a move like, let me get Devontae Adams on one side and let McConkey work out of the slot, like, I really would be high on this team. I like this team, but as I told you, I want to love this team, but there are some question marks that might be tough to overcome. The coaching staff, love it. The quarterback, love it. The running game should be fantastic. McConkey's a great player. That offensive line is how you build championship teams the right way. But I just feel like myself, like, hey, on a big 3rd and 8, a wide open Johnson, the ball ricochets off his face mask into an interception, and they lose a big game. Man, Chargers, prove me right this year. I want to love you. Let me love you, Ben. Let me. Come on.
Yeah. DRS, I completely agree with your synopsis. Again, the 9.5 win total for LA. The under has a slight bit of juice. But as we shared yesterday, looking at the Denver Broncos, last year the 7 seed in the AFC, they have a -114 price to make the AFC postseason. Let me just double check this on the Chargers. I believe it is a -122 number, now -128, 6th best around the AFC. So we expect those 2 wildcard teams from the AFC West a season ago to be exactly back in those spots, but that's not necessarily increasing or improving year over year. I think the Chargers are a playoff team once again in 2025. I believe profoundly in Jim Harbaugh. Look at what he has done every step of his career. FCS, FBS, Stanford, Michigan. Now in the NFL in 2 spots, the Niners and the Chargers. He wins right away. But can he get them past just the opening round of the playoffs? We'll discuss next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Our NFL playoff profiles continue. Of the 7 teams in each conference, 14 in total, that made the postseason last year in the National Football League. In this football month of July, will they get back to the same spot? can they improve season over season? Basically, our big question, DRS, on the Los Angeles Chargers, year number 1 under Jim Harbaugh, a resounding success. 11 wins under Harbaugh, the Bolts into the postseason. But they come up short once again as a road favorite against the Houston Texans. They got blown out 32-12, and Justin Herbert, frankly, looked awful. 4 interceptions in that game, only 3 INTs throughout the entirety of the regular season. The question is now on the Chargers. Minus 128 to reach the playoffs for a second consecutive year. Can they go further than that? I would say, DRS, that your questions about this Chargers team are valid. They did not get a big play wide receiver this offseason. There were some reports that LA was very interested in DK Metcalf when he was put on the block by the Seahawks. Of course, he makes his way to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They bring back Mike Williams. Ladd McConkey was great in that AFC playoff game. Really the only bright spot. 9 of the 14 completions for Herbert to McConkey, 197 of the 200-plus yards to Ladd McConkey as well. Just to confirm, 242 Herbert completed, 197 to McConkey, and the only touchdown toss for Herbert into the arms of Ladd McConkey as well. They draft Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, a player that I like, but did not do much in the wide receiver spot. What the Chargers did this year, and what was the philosophy under Greg Roman, the OC, and Harbaugh right away, build up the O-line, run the damn ball, establish it, and take the onus off of Justin Herbert. They did that a ton early in the year, hope to do the same this year. They bring in Najee Harris from Pittsburgh, and they draft Amarion Hampton, the very talented running back out of North Carolina, in the opening round. That's what LA really did to improve the offense this offseason. Not a big play wide receiver, but a consistently talented running back in Najee Harris.
Yeah, because we want to see Herbert eat, right? We're going to see those vertical games extended, and maybe they can do that a little bit more this year, but the ground game is going to be solid with that nasty offensive line. Now, Ben, let's look at the schedule here. And here's the shame of it sometimes where you boil down.
Yeah.
If you ask, like, the NFL is about business. The NFL is about making money. We understand that. And having overseas games makes a lot of sense because you bring different markets in. It's packages now. And I put it this way. I love that Friday night opening weekend.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and then Monday. Fantastic stuff. You saw last year with the Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles was a horrible, game itself to watch from a player perspective because all they did was slip around in an ice skating rink, but it was entertaining nonetheless with big ratings here. Here's the problem that you have. If you ask Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, hey, you know what? Who's your division rival? I don't know. Let's just say it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, by the way, you're going to have a neutral site game, and then you're going to play on the road against Kansas City. Like, what is the deal here? Like, I'm not saying you have the biggest home field advantage, but Kansas City opening up where you have them at home, so much different. It's the same way me being an Eagles fan last year. Yes, the Eagles picked up a victory against Green Bay. It's like, come on now. This game's in Philadelphia. What a huge advantage we have. Now you have a less advantage. But let's just say the Chargers get that opening day win, Ben, against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to read you the games up to the bye week. You might have a clean runway here. The Chiefs game, let's just say 1-0, we'll give it to them there. At the Vegas Raiders, they should be better than them and be able to win that game. It's road game. It's always tough to win in the NFL. I get it. The Broncos at home. The Broncos are a good team, but it's home. The Giants on the road. Who knows what we're getting out of them? But you don't want to waste a home game. You can handle the Giants on the road. The Commanders, a really good football team. Where is that, Ben? At home in your own building. You go on the road to the Dolphins, who I don't have a lot of expectations for this year. Then you get the Colts at home. That should be a win. The Vikings at home. Who knows what we're getting out of J.J. McCarthy, but it's home. That should be a win. At the Titans, who have a rookie quarterback and maybe bottom feeders here in the AFC this year. Then the Steelers at home. And then again, the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road before you get the bye. Like, that sounds like maybe 2 losses there with a ton of wins and a chance to really get your season off in the right direction. But the focus on game number 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs is where we need it right now. But I like that start to the season.
That Sao Paulo opener in Brazil, the opening Friday of the year. The Chiefs a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under stands at 45.5. If we learned anything from the surface in Brazil last year, could be a little slippy and slidey. Maybe we see some points. DRS, if you are a Bolts backer and you are hopeful that LA can maybe knock KC off its perch, who has won the AFC West, of course, 9 straight seasons, you are not all that pleased that the Chargers are losing a home divisional game against Kansas City, playing it on a neutral site in Sao Paulo. The Bolts have lost 7 straight against the Chiefs. Mahomes is 35-5 against the AFC West as a whole. Herbert is 2-7 against Kansas City as a starter in his career. Again, not a great recipe for anybody to make the Chiefs not win the AFC West. Not a great start for the Chargers, although could be a spot where they could pull off the upset to begin. That's what LA's outlook is entering 2025. A playoff team for sure to make that 14-1 price to win the AFC be dangerous. I still think we need to see something out of the passing game and that top flight wide receivers outside of Ladd McConkey. But consistent back to the playoffs, double-digit wins, I do believe so. DRS, the 5 seed in the other conference. LA was the top wild card team in the AFC. That was the Minnesota Vikings. And not just a 5 seed, right? It came down to game 272, regular season finale against the Lions for who would win the division, who would be the 1 seed in the NFC. And Sam Darnold became very human on that night and very human in the Vikings opening playoff game against the LA Rams as well. But this was a Vikings team last season that the top wild card team won 14 games. And yet, it's not Sam Darnold back at the quarterback spot, right? It's not a Minnesota team that we expect to have a win total of 12.5. Once again, win total is 8.5. Plenty of juice on the over for Minnesota. But the main question, DRS, what are we going to get out of the quarterback spot? Sam Darnold became human in the games that mattered very much and the most, and it will be J.J. McCarthy in his de facto rookie season.
Yes, and here's the issue that you have, which is quite frankly fascinating. You had a trajectory last year from Minnesota that had they played well in one of their past 2 games, which again, end the season, you can win the division. I think it was the Lions game they had, and then they go on the road, or basically not on the road, but neutral site in that playoff game because the LA Wildfires. Darnold plays well in one of those 2 games. J.J. McCarthy's not your starting quarterback this year. It's Sam Darnold, and he signed a long-term deal. We'll talk about that a little bit more next.
We really should. Next.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The NFL playoff profiles continue, and basically the theme for the last 2 days here on the early line, teams that made the postseason last year, and will they be back? If I were to tell you on paper, a 14-win playoff team that had an opportunity to win the division in its very final game of the season, you would say, what's their price to make the playoffs this year? Minus 250. What's their updated win total? 11.5. It's a very different story for the Vikings and a highly compelling team entering 2025 because they got so much good out of Sam Darnold until the two most significant games of the year. Darnold no longer in the Twin Cities, but out in the Pacific Northwest with the Seahawks. So enter J.J. McCarthy, the 10th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. And there is no doubt, DRS, those in Minneapolis, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, that GM for Minnesota and head coach Kevin O'Connell, they are in love with McCarthy, who was incredibly successful during his run at Michigan. 27-1, ended as a national champion before his career in Ann Arbor was in the books. That is the best winning percentage of any quarterback at the FBS level in the last half century, with at least starting and playing in 25 games. But just because he won a lot did not mean he performed or did a ton when it comes to production. There is a lot of projection on J.J. McCarthy to be that face of the franchise as a starting quarterback now in Minneapolis. But if you were to find yourself in a situation, this is a pretty good one. Kevin O'Connell, one of the brightest offensive minds in the sport, and the best wide receiver in the sport is Justin Jefferson. Those at your disposal in the Twin Cities this upcoming year in 2025. We'll see if J.J. McCarthy can take advantage.
Yeah, basically took a redshirt year in the NFL, which isn't a bad thing. We see a lot of quarterbacks like, hey, you know what? I can learn more from watching the pro game and being around the pro game and being on the chalkboard than I can in the pro game itself. But if you are taking a look at good spots here, you have a dynamic play caller. And if you're a young quarterback, that's a huge win for you. Caleb Williams last like, hey, who's my dynamic play caller? Oh, it's Matt Eberflus. He's a defensive coordinator. Oh, the season didn't go well? Yes, surprised me, right? But then you take a look at having the best wide receiver in football as well. That's a great start. And also you take a look at a team that wasn't floundering last year. Yes, they floundered last game of the season against the Lions and then floundered once again in the playoffs, but has the basis to be really good. A solid defense, a great offensive concept. You get Jackson in the first round here to bolster that offensive line that's already really, really good. You have to like a lot of things. Here's the component, though. Like when you look at college quarterbacks coming into the pro game, yes, they're hiring McCarthy. They drafted him. They were supposed to be. The last thing you want to see is like a Trey Lance situation for San Francisco. It's like, this guy's not playing, but we're not even getting feedback like he can complete a pass right now. What is actually going on? He's got a lot of high praise already for the Vikings, but the times that you take a look at Michigan in college, where it's like, yes, he did have some good drives and threw key passes. You can't win a national championship without having a really good quarterback per se, but they didn't ask him to do the things that a lot of other colleges ask their quarterbacks. Go out and win multiple football games for us with the passing game. And if you remember, one of the key contributors during that season when Harbaugh was getting suspended in and out of the lineup was, hey, let's go on the road with a hard-fought game against Penn State. You know what was awesome about that game? We didn't pass in the second half. And then you go, wait a second. This quarterback's supposed to be really good. You're basically saying like, hey, kid, don't ruin this football game. We'll just hand it off the rest of the way. Those are the things that have those doubts and question marks. Are we saying he can't be a good quarterback right off the bat? No, we're not. But it feels like he has to prove himself much, much more as he could be a passing quarterback in the NFL than, let's just say, a Cam Ward, where you watch the highlights like, yeah, this kid can sling it. We're not having any question marks that he comes to the NFL and can't pass the football accurately or with a ton of accuracy and yardage.
And there will be many offensive pieces around McCarthy that should ease that transition and allow him to dispense the football in a high productivity way. Most namely, as we have said so many times in this segment, Justin Jefferson. Last year, more than 100 receptions, 1,500 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. Jordan Addison is there. TJ Hawkinson is there. Aaron Jones is back in Minneapolis as well. But a lot of it will ride first and foremost and squarely on the right shoulder of J.J. McCarthy. Only played in a single preseason game last year for the Vikes. Looked darn good. 11 of 17, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And then came back after that game, I believe it was on a Saturday, came back into the facility early the next week, told the trainers, like, I got a little discomfort in my knee. Turned out to be a torn meniscus that needed a full surgical repair, which is why McCarthy did not play a game in his true rookie season this his de facto rookie campaign. But there is no doubt Minnesota believes in J.J. McCarthy. He will have to prove it worth it in 2025 for the Vikings to get back to the postseason. We'll talk about their playoff price a little bit later on. Those are the wild card teams. Let's talk about some division winners up next.
To really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking into being in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, like, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. Like, it's really bad. Now, the past couple weeks, like, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going like, ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that weren't household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You got swept by the Marlins. You got some issues here. They're struggling. Arizona having their issues as well here. What I want to see here is Arizona take the lead. All right, and then let's attack the Diamondbacks bullpen. That bullpen is horrific. It's a dumpster fire. All right, that bullpen is that bad. Hit it a couple times over the weekend. Once they're up, hit the bullpen. That bullpen's going to blow the game. That's a great in-game bet for the against the Diamondbacks.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I will keel over if they trade LeBron James to anyone. He is not leaving Los Angeles with all of his entertainment company, production studios, movies, TV shows, podcasts, everything that he does. This guy is stuck there like glue for the rest of his life. He's not leaving Los Angeles even when he's done playing.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, that's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. He's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Our NFL playoff profiles continue, and so far we have gone through the 6 wildcard teams, the 3 in the AFC, the 3 in the NFC. It started yesterday. It has been the case through the opening half hour of our second hour here on this Tuesday on TEL. DRS, now it's time to take it a step further and look at the division winners. We start with the 4 seeds, the teams that won a division but were in that lowest spot you could be as a divisional champ a season ago. In the AFC for a second consecutive year, the champions of the AFC South, the Houston Texans. A team that, they won the AFC South a year ago, as they were a minus money favorite to do before the season got underway. But it wasn't the easiest to get back on top of the division, DRS, and it was, I would say, a slightly disappointing season. Or was it for the Texans? Because they had all the optimism entering 2024 to maybe not just be a divisional champ once again in the South, but be a true conference contender. Now, they did win a playoff game at home as a slight underdog, as we have told you already, against the LA Chargers, but then as an 8.5 or 9.5 point favorite, depending on where you got that closing number, they lost to the Chiefs in Arrowhead 23-14 in a game that was not all that competitive for a good majority of it. Houston will enter 2025 as the favorites to win the AFC South for a 3rd consecutive year. Once again, with D'Amico Ryans as the head coach and C.J. Stroud as their starting quarterback. The 2 years that Ryans and Stroud have been there in Houston, they have won a divisional crown. What does 2025 DRS hold for Houston in your estimation?
Yeah, it holds a really good card, right? Let's just say you're playing blackjack, like, hey, face card here. That's what you have with Houston. Why? Because of the division they play in. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jacksonville Jaguars, or, just per se in that division. But there's two layups in there. I don't think the Colts are going to be very good, to be honest. I like Steichen as head coach, and I don't think, obviously, breaking in a rookie quarterback in Tennessee is going to be worth your money to say, let's challenge for a division. So the sole focal point, and rightfully so, will be on Houston. Love the head coach. Like the coaching staff. Love that defense. That's the foundation for success. You take a look at the offense. It's C.J. Stroud. Wonderful his rookie year. All right in the second year, but some injuries sort of to that lineup sort of caused some of those downfalls.
Yeah.
Mixon was a great pickup here to come over as a solid running back that not only can rush the football, but key in third down situations. Not even necessarily catching the football, Ben, but just being able to pick up the blitz here. Mechie the third, Schultz, Kirk, Collins. If everybody is healthy this year, that's a formidable team, and that's what I like. Here's the question marks that pop up. We just talked about the Chargers. I don't know if I like their wide receiving core outside of Ladd McConkey. That's okay, because the stalwart is the running game, the quarterback, and a nasty offensive line. You don't have a nasty offensive line with the Houston Texans. Oh. Hey, look at the bookend side here. Laramie Tunsil. Oh, oops, not going to show up there. So now you have question marks at just about every single position on that offensive line. And that's the foundation for success. As I talked about, that defense is ready. That defense is ready to get off the field on third downs. But the offense on third downs, where that heat is coming, you got to protect C.J. Stroud. That's too big of a question mark for me not to be competitive in division, because I told you, there's 2 layups on that schedule. And if you can beat Jacksonville, who looking to overcome all the hype they've had in the past couple of years and haven't been able to do it, that's my question mark. I can't. Look, making the playoffs is one thing. Winning that division and winning a playoff game with that offensive line, that's the question for me.
And that's why the Laramie Tunsil trade really kind of had me scratching my head when they made it to allow the Commanders to get better up front to protect the reigning Rookie of the Year in Jaden Daniels, but almost dispatching of the guy that was really the only bright spot on an O-line that was beat up bad last year in Laramie Tunsil as well. And so when you look at Houston, DRS, C.J. Stroud, a sensational rookie year, ran away with Offensive Rookie of the Year, much the same that Jaden Daniels did in 2024, back in 2023. But the stats in his sophomore year, was it a sophomore slump? Was it the NFL catching up on everything C.J. Stroud? Was it Bobby Slowick looking a lot different than he did in 2023? I think the main difference was that offensive line. He was sacked, Stroud, 52 times in 2024. Only Caleb Williams was sacked more, and that was 68. And then the Bears said, all right, enough of that, and made huge additions. Joe Tooney, Drew Dalman, and the guy from Detroit via L.A. that I'm blanking on, Jonah Jackson, up front as well. Houston traded away their best piece. They had the veteran Cam Robinson as Stroud's blindside blocker, but I don't know if that's enough. Again, you look at the numbers for C.J. Stroud. Fewer passing yards, fewer touchdowns in his second year than his rookie campaign. More interceptions, only had 5 during 2024, 12 a season ago. A worse QBR, a worse passer rating. And I'm not saying that was all on him, DRS, but he'll enter this season with Nico Collins back, but Tank Dell suffering that gruesome injury late in the year against the Chiefs, out for 2025 as well. Ultimately, if you ask me right now, pick the AFC South champ. I give a 55% edge to the Houston Texans, but I would not be surprised that the other 45% being the Jacksonville Jaguars if Liam Cohen is the real deal. And Trevor Lawrence is so much better and healthy this year. If the Jaguars kind of changed the tune in the division and won the AFC South, ultimately, in my estimation, keeping the Texans from the postseason.
Yeah, no, you're right about it. And those are the only 2 teams you have to worry about. Hey, this team could surprise. Trust me, the Colts aren't surprising anybody, and neither are the Tennessee Titans. Now, here's where the difference might come in, because you say to yourself, like, Nico Collins, one of the best, wide receivers in the game, really coming into his own. Missed a couple weeks last year. That certainly is going to hurt a quarterback with his best weapon down for 4, 5, 6 games at that point. But understand this, you are built on that offensive line. But if you are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, where's their strength? Like Liam Cohen, the new head coach, passing, brings it back, similar sort of setup to what he had in Tampa Bay. But understand this, you are legit at cornerback and pass rush on Houston. If you want to slow down Brian Thomas Jr., if you want to slow down Travis Hunter next year, you have the secondary to do that with those frontline cornerbacks out there, some of the best in the business. You want to get pressure on, in the pocket. You have that with Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. This team is set up for a lot of success. It isn't just interesting, like, you have a team that's ready to move forward. Like, think about the teams that always are looking to be on the crust. Like, It might not always work in Kansas City, but every time they say, we need our offensive line, they retool it every year. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles, dominant on the offensive line. What does that equal? Success in the playoffs and Super Bowl runs. It's hard to say, like, even if you dial back to like the early 1990s Philadelphia Eagles with Randall Cunningham and all that success, they had a terrible offensive line and it never works out. Show me one team that has musical chairs and a bad offensive line that's absolutely dominant. Like, look at Cincinnati, barely able to protect their quarterback. If you don't have a line that can protect your quarterback, it's hard for me to say, yes, you can make a deep run and possibly a Super Bowl run. It just is.
Yeah. Yep, completely agree, DRS. Again, would I be surprised if the Texans won the AFC South at plus 110? No, I give them the edge in front of Jacksonville until I see the Jags do something different. But last year, the conversation around Houston, could they unseat the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens and be that true contender in the AFC? The answer was a resounding no. And I don't really think there's that true optimism. That 12-1 number feels realistic entering this upcoming season. When we look at the new OC, by the way, in Houston, it is Nick Caley, who spent the past 2 years working under Sean McVay. Another member of the McVay coaching tree now gets a bigger spot in the NFL. Speaking of McVay, the Rams, DRS, they might be that team that has the enthusiasm and the excitement entering 2025 around the NFL. A divisional winner to win the NFC West, after a porous start to the year. They were 10-7. They did lose in the divisional round against your Philadelphia Eagles, the eventual Super Bowl champs. But if maybe Jalen Carter was blocked up front, could that be a very different story? There is a lot of optimism for the Rams entering 2025. I ask you this question, DRS, and we'll discuss even further on the other side of the break. Do you consider the Rams a true Super Bowl contender entering 2025?
I'll put it this way as we head into break, Ben. You look at the Los Angeles Rams and everything that city has to offer by far. This is the sexiest team heading into 2025, which that upside here and the way they can get the job done. You got the head coach. You got the quarterback. You got the running game. You got everything you need, Ben. Everything.
But is it too much hype? That's the conversation next.
To really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking in to be in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. Like, it's really bad. Now, the past couple weeks, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that were in household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You got swept by the Marlins. You got some issues here. They're struggling. Arizona having their issues as well here. What I want to see here is Arizona take the lead. All right, and then let's attack the Diamondbacks bullpen. That bullpen is horrific. It's a dumpster fire. All right, that bullpen is that bad. Hit it a couple times over the weekend. Once they're up, hit the bullpen. That bullpen's going to blow the game. That's a great in-game bet for the against the Diamondbacks.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I will keel over if they trade LeBron James to anyone. He is not leaving Los Angeles with all of his entertainment company, production studios, movies, TV shows, podcasts, everything that he does. This guy is stuck there like glue for the rest of his life. He's not leaving Los Angeles even when he's done playing.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, that's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. He's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The LA Rams, as Donnie Rightside just described them, entering 2025 in the City of Angels. It is Hollywood, as we know. It's the glitz and glam of Tinkletown. Said they are the sexiest team entering 2025 around the National Football League. Is it Twinkletown? Did I say Tinkletown?
Yeah.
Twinkletown?
Tinseltown. Tinseltown.
And I'm from there. That's
Tinkletown.
pretty bad.
Wow.
That's pretty bad,
tough
man.
scene.
Tinkletown is different. Tinseltown. I'm from there. That's bad, man. That's bad.
Yeah.
Don't tell
That sounds like a
anybody.
late-night
Although
party
we
out
air,
there, man. Come on,
we
man.
air in Los Angeles too. Oh, disrespectful to
Are
my
you really from
family.
LA?
You might have to. You might have to question my father. My father, Rick Stevens, watches this show. He's going to have to hide his face around town. He is around Tinseltown. He is right next to the Rams facility. His office overlooks their new training facility in Woodland Hills, California. He can see the Rams take the field. I'm sorry to the Stevens name on this Tuesday.
Look, the only way to rectify the situation is put your official telephone number and also the street address where your family lives right now so we can verify that you're actually from Los Angeles. That'll clear up a lot of things right now if you do that. Yep,
all right.
There you go.
8185. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. All right, DRS. As we look at the Rams entering 2025. Double-digit wins last year, divisional crown in the NFC West. They won their opening playoff game of that season against the Minnesota Vikings in Glendale due to the tragic wildfires in Los Angeles and gave the Eagles an absolute run for their money in that snow game against Philadelphia. Storming back and having an opportunity in the final 2 minutes of regulation to maybe upset the Birds and get to the NFC Championship game. But maybe in what ifs is revisionist history. The Eagles are a Super Bowl champ. But Donnie, you said the sexiest team entering 2025 in the NFL. What bet do you like the most on the Rams? Over the win total of 9.5 to win the division once again, to win the NFC at an 8-1 price, third best around the conference, or that 17-1 number to maybe contend for a Lombardi trophy once again?
Yeah, probably go NFC 8-1 because, they're going to get some competition in that division. I do think they're a playoff team. That's the way I want to approach it. And sometimes just how well you're playing at the end of the season and how healthy you're entering in the playoffs can give you a little bit of that mojo. I think that makes the most sense. But also understand this. You take a look from a Rams perspective where when you're that sexy team, as I said, heading into the season, a lot of eyeballs will be on you because of the way you ended that season. And yes, it was maybe a little bit of an optical illusion where the Eagles collapsed late in that fourth quarter. There was a chance to steal it. It was a crazy snowstorm, and they couldn't get it done. I remember, Ben, sitting on my ottoman, like not even on the couch, on the ottoman, looking at the TV after Puka made that catch to get him around the 20-yard line. I say to myself, the Eagles are going to lose this game. I don't even know how I can survive the next week or two. And you got to work the Super Bowl. The Eagles are supposed to be there was devastation in my eyes right away because especially there's nothing worse than a game where Saquon busts along. We're all right, Eagles in the NFC Championship next week. And 30 seconds later, it's oh no, they're going to lose this game. But also you can live in that moment here for the Rams by going, we were close to the Eagles who won the Super Bowl. How can we change things? The offensive line is very good. The running back's one of the best in the business. You had an offense that was built around Matthew Stafford. He didn't put up crazy statistics last year because he had a good defensive performance and a good running game. And now you said, all right, Puka is the shining star of this offense. How can we help him out? And most people would say, oh, well, get another offensive line or, throw him the football more. No, get a superstar wide receiver on the opposite side so he doesn't have to face double teams on every single play. That's exactly what they went out and did with Adams as wide receiver. It's almost like the perfect storm. How do you win football games? Have a good offensive line. Got it. Have a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl. Got it. Have a dominant ground game. Got it. Have dominant wide receivers. Hey, that sounds like the Eagles formula right now. And then you add a defense that has a pass rush. It's all young. It's all talented and should get better next year. Now, how do you also know a team is probably ready for a Super Bowl run and everybody loves them? Joe Lisi loves the Arizona Cardinals in this division and not the Rams. That tells you a lot about the Rams and this next season as it comes up because he's supposed to be the guy that's a year ahead on the Rams. Now that everybody's on the Rams, Lisi is on the Cardinals. So that tells you everything you need to know about this truly is the hot team in the NFL.
Yeah, and I guess it's the idea, as Lisi would say, Joe Poe versus Joe Mo.
Exactly.
Joe Poe being the public because there are a lot of public eyeballs on this Rams team, DRS, not just to get back to the playoffs, but to be that true NFC championship and Super Bowl contender. In Stafford's first year in LA, now 4 years ago in 2021, they won that Lombardi trophy. Last year, they win a divisional championship. In Sean McVay's 8 seasons as the head coach in Los Angeles, they have reached the playoffs 6 times with 3 divisional crowns from the NFC West. It should be noted, though, the 49ers are the slight favorites by a dime at plus 165 to win this division as compared to the LA Rams. You got Puka Nacua back. You add in Devontae Adams, as DRS alluded to. The O-line, which was not healthy to begin last season, should be healthy from the jump this year. And a defense that is young, improved throughout the entire duration of 2024 under Chris Shula. Got so good by the end of the year in the games that mattered most. Come the postseason, should only be better year over year. DRS, the Rams started 1-4 before they rallied to win 9 of their next 11 to wrap up the division by the end of week 17. 2 years ago, when they won double-digit games and got to the playoffs, they started 3-6 before they rallied down the stretch of the year. If they can avoid a drastically slow start, they will be in a prime position to win the NFC West and to be that team that is sexy and optimistic right now and realized that potential by the time 2025 is about midway through. In fact, as we look at the odds for these 4 teams we have highlighted today, the Chargers and the Vikings, the top wildcard teams from a year ago in both the AFC and NFC, the Rams and the Texans, divisional winners a year ago, and our 4 seeds in our playoff pictures, all 4 of these teams a slight minus money price. But I should mention, DRS, the Vikings have the 8th best number out of the NFC. That would not be a playoff team based on the 7-team structure to reach the postseason. And the Texans at a minus 148 price. That is also baked into the idea that Houston will win a 3rd consecutive AFC South. I'm not so sure if they don't win the division if they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, if we go line by line, or team by team, I should say, the Rams and the Texans, yes, I do think they're going to make the playoffs here. The Minnesota Vikings on the bottom of that list, that's the one team that I would question here of having a legitimate chance. Not because I don't think they're going to be good, but if you're looking at the other teams with the quarterback situation, they're handled. That's not with Minnesota. That's a big question.
Plenty more to come on the early line up next.
That insult to injury, Aaron Judge gets hit by Anthony Volpe. What did he do? Punch him, hit him with a bat? No, he hit him with a baseball. Basically floated it over as Judge was running, and you see the picture there. Bloodied up. My goodness, man. What are the Yankees? They can't win games. They're losing guys to surgery, and now also the best player in baseball is getting lumped up by their shortstop.
Yeah, I guess, when it rains, it pours.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
9 times out of 100, when you get a gift for the boys in Vegas, what happens? The dude doesn't even get out in the first inning. I feel bad for him. He gave up 7 runs, 5 earned, but 7 runs in total, 5 hits, walked 2, didn't strike out a batter, and like I said, didn't get out of the first inning, got 1 out. I don't know how they do, Joe, but I'm telling you, those lines didn't make any sense.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Devin Booker had to run the point when Chris Paul was hurt. And we're like, Devin Booker's a point guard. Devin Booker's not a point guard. Neither is Jalen Green. So I need to know, once you get rid of Bradley Beal, who cannot be on that team, who is the point guard? And then I think as a 6th man, I actually don't mind it with Jalen Green.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
What is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
How about I answer your question with a question, Kev?
Okay.
What could possibly go wrong?
I would say it's possible that you somehow, in bringing in Aaron Rodgers, which is supposed to be a win-now move, look around at your team and go, wait, Pickens, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and TJ Watt aren't on it anymore?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
So we continue our NFL playoff profiles to end out this second hour. We showed you those playoff prices on the 4 teams we highlighted today. The division winners, the Rams and the Texans, and our top wildcard teams from a year ago, the Vikings and the Chargers. Minnesota slightly minus money as you see it there, but as we said right before the end of our last segment, 8th best price out of the NFC. If you finish 8th in the conference standings, you are not earning a playoff spot. The Rams and the Texans also take in their prices as divisional frontrunners, although LA 10 cents behind San Francisco now at a plus 175 price to win the NFC West. DRS, a lot of focus on the Rams. Matthew Stafford battling some injuries, trying to perform behind a banged up O-line. Slow to start last year, not even by his standards, all that successful of a season, but 20 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Didn't get to 4K passing yards, though. Should be very pleased about what he has at his disposal entering this year. Stafford is back. There was some conversation around that early this offseason in Los Angeles. He's back. O-line is back. Should be healthy from the jump. You add in the veteran Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who set rookie record after rookie record in 2023, backed it up despite battling some injuries in 2024. The offense should be firing on all cylinders in Los Angeles under the guidance of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford once again.
Yeah, TMA, right? Was that what used to the show for his wife, Kelly Stafford?
Great show.
Used to stay up there. There you go. Great show.
Season
Great name
assist,
for you.
Kelly.
Exactly. The reason I bring up that show was, don't you remember the jokes were like, hey, man, look, spoke to Matt last night. These young kids in here, he don't like any of them here. It's like, oh, that's going to be really good in the locker room. So maybe that's why I had to get Devontae Adams as more of a veteran presence. But it's clear like he likes to be around this football team because they are really good. But understand this as well. Like from a quarterback that's aging, he's taken a beating from his Detroit days, but that arm is still live. And if you have a confident running game, which they like, competent means like we just get by. That is an excellent running game with an excellent offensive line. So when you take that football, hand it out there, and it's a play-action pass, and everybody bites with monsters at wide receiver, how can you not come back to that team and have some fun? And also, a top 3 play caller in the NFL in Sean McVay. Like, you look at the statistics for what they did last year and had a solid season. If he just gets back to being old Matthew Stafford, I don't mean 45 touchdown passes, 5,000 yards. Like, you just improve that up. 4,200 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, same interceptions. That QBR, which you'd like to have it around at least a 75 or higher, sky is the limit for them. And again, coming into the season, we're not talking about C.J. Stroud can't be protected behind that offensive line. Like an aging quarterback, you know what he loves? A great ground game, great wide receivers, and a great offensive line, and an unbelievable talented play caller. He's got everything he needs at his disposal to succeed next year.
It is funny, right? Because it was the fewest passing yards for Matthew Stafford and the fewest touchdowns thrown for Stafford in a year that he has played at least 15 games throughout his time in the National Football League. And that's 12 years of his 16-year NFL career. And yet, DRS, it's not like, the wheels have fallen off for Matthew Stafford. Yeah. We feel great about this guy back who is now 37 years old in Los Angeles. And, of course, with Puka Nacua at his disposal. You mentioned something in the Sell Me Something Summer Special 4th of July Pro Football Today around Puka Nacua. Yesterday, I messed up what I thought your bet was. So this time, you just take it away, pretty please.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, 16-1 to be the offensive player of the year. And the reason I bring that up is because you take a look at the Rams last year. Puka, look at hey, that's great statistics. He missed a lot of football games last year due to injury. You take a look at the year before, which is his rookie year, 105 catches, 1,486 yards. He plays the entire way through. There's no doubt in my mind he is a 1,500-yard wide receiver and double-digit touchdowns, which, again, accompanied by, I do think the Rams have a very good season and make the playoffs. He should be in line for that unless we get a running back that goes wild or Justin Jefferson with a rookie quarterback breaks out. But for me, Puka Nacua is just going to be in target monster once again. 100-plus catches next year. He'll put up insane numbers with yardage and touchdowns on top of that.
Saquon Barkley is the favorite to go back-to-back to win OPOY at plus 550. We're not so sure that Saquon is going to match the records that he had and the history he set last year. But there you see Nakua's price at 16-1. There's a couple of guys there at 14-1. The King, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson, and Nico Collins playing for teams that we highlighted today. But Donnie, I think that's a great look on Nacua. If he can remain fully healthy for this Rams team that should be explosive and sexy, as Donnie likes to say, of course, in Los Angeles, otherwise known as Tinseltown. Hour number 3 up next here on the Early Line.